All right, so super exciting about oops, hold on. There we go. So normally with our AMAs, the way we jump in is that we go into your questions. If you've never been to an AMA before and asked me anything, these sessions are built specifically to ask any question that you have whatsoever about, I have a talk coming up. I want to make sure I'm good to go. I've got questions about X or Y or Z. Literally no question is out of bounds. No question is stupid. No question is too small. You do not have to premise any question with, you've probably already covered this, or everyone else probably knows this except me, but I wanted to, like, you don't have to feel bad. This is the place to ask questions. Many people join because they have a very specific question they need answered. Other people join because they just want to see what other questions people are asking. They want to just keep their pulse on the the their pulse on speaking. I was going to say pulse on the body of speaking, but that's not a appropriate term, right? So they just want to stay connected. So whoever you are welcome here. I want to show you something I'm super excited about. You're going to see some messaging going out about this, but I want you to know about what this new feature is that we just put into flight that I genuinely believe is going to help all of you make more money. One of the questions that kind of has shown up over and over and over again, and one of the messages we get via email over and over and over again is, I got leads that came into my Talkadot, now what? Or I got leads that came into my Talkadot and I've never messaged them and it's been like 3 months. What do I do? Right? So there's these questions about, hey, I'm super excited, I'm speaking, I'm getting these leads, but I'm not sure what to do with them, or I'm not sure what to say, or whatever. And we've provided templates in the past, but we have a really cool new feature for you. So what I am going to show you, if you are a Talkadot Pro user, this is in your account right now. All you have to do is turn it on if you'd like to. If you are a Talkadot Lite user, I cannot express to you the importance of upgrading to Pro for this feature alone. It's going to make your life so much easier and so much better. So what you want to do is go over to your settings. For those of you who are like, how do I get involved in my settings? You just click on your face when you come to the homepage, drop down to account settings, and then come right here. What you're going to want to do is scroll down to this new section that's called email campaign settings right here. Okay. These are going to be toggled off for you. What I recommend doing, if you don't already have a beautiful system and process that's set up, I recommend keeping these turned on. Now, when you have these turned on, anyone who is a booking lead that comes in and raises their hand, they will get an email that basically looks like this. It's going to say, hi, Joe. Thanks so much for attending my recent presentation. While giving me your feedback, you indicated interest in booking me to speak for a future event. Is that still the case? Would now be a good time to jump on a call to discuss this more. Let me know by replying to this email for dates and times are available, or if it's easier, you can book a time on this calendar. Now, this calendar link is going to be the link that you put here for your meeting link. So if you have a meeting link, go ahead and put that meeting link there. If you don't have a meeting link, then this portion won't show up right here. Or if it's easier, it'll just say reply back to this email. So again, if you'd want your booking leads to be like, yeah, I want to jump on a call with you and I want to find a time on your calendar, we recommend having your meeting link put in. You can click here if you have your public profile turned on. For those of you who just need a quick refresher on your public profile, you would want to turn this part on. This is where we take all of your information and put it into one report. So if you have that public profile turned on, we'll put that there for you just so people, if they want to do a little research on you, they can. And if you are giving away a bonus, your booking lead will also get your bonus. We're going to send them a link to their bonus so they can click and get the email, right? For everyone who is a referral lead, they're going to get a different email. So it's pretty much the same concept of it. Hey, you mentioned that you were interested in referring me to speak at an event. Could you tell me more about what you had in mind or who you thought would benefit from one of my presentations? Could you reply back to this email with your thoughts? Or if it's easier, again, jump on my calendar. Again, if your calendar link is not put in, that part won't be there. Public profile, same thing. And then as a PS, they'll also get your bonus. For all of your email opt-ins, so these are the people who are not booking leads, not referral leads. They just said, I'd like to give you feedback. Right now, at the end of the feedback flow, there's a button that pops up that says get your bonus. Now, all of the people who gave you their email address will also get an email with the bonus as well. This will be automated in our system. So all you've got to do is turn these on, and these are ready to go. We've got the form fields and all the merging and all of that set up for you. You literally have to do nothing except turn them on and they'll go. Now, if you have any questions about that, you'll probably be asking this question. Well, can I customize that message? Like you have it templated, can I customize it, right? The answer is yes, but not yet. We want to make sure people are actually using this tool first, and we want to get some data points here. The good news is we have a Zapier integration that is literally right on the precipice of being launched. So if you have direct, specific, automations that you want to do, when we have our Zapier integration turned on, you're going to be able to do all of those fun things automatically. If you have no idea what a Zapier integration is, contact Michael Pope. He will tell you everything about Zapier because he's a tech guru. But basically what Zapier does is it'll take Talkadot and it'll connect it to your MailChimp, your Schedule Ones, your CRM. So the moment your emails and leads pop in, it'll move them over to your CRM, and then you can do whatever automations you have set up there. So that's going to be coming soon. And the ability to go in natively into our system and edit these will be a feature that's coming, but we wanted to launch this now so you could start using it now while we're continuing to build out the rest of the feature set. But I would definitely recommend turning this on, especially for if you just want to turn on, for example, your booking leads and you don't want to send anything to anyone else, you can do that. If you just want to turn on your email opt-ins and just make sure everyone who gives you their email, they get your bonus, you can do that as well. You can turn all of them on. I recommend doing that because at the end of the day, making sure a touch point hits them automatically, it'll come from our system, but the reply to email will be the email that you have here. So whatever is the email that you have in your system will be the reply to email. So this system generated email will come from Talkadot. So if you still wanted to do a follow-up with them, or if you wanted to do something else from your system, you can 100% do all the things that you normally would want to do, but we have just automated this process for you so that you can get people just literally reaching out to you saying, yes, let's set up a time to talk because I'd like to book you, or yes, let's thank you for sending me this bonus and all that kind of good stuff. So all that's set up for you. We're super excited about it, and it's going to be really, 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 really cool. So that's the new feature release. I'm going to be sending out some messaging, some emailing. You're going to see some other stuff about it. But because you joined here, I wanted you to be the first to know. So if you want to feel cooler than other Talkadot users, feel free to tell them, did you hear about that feature? And they're going to be like, no, I didn't hear about that. And it's like, well, you're not as connected as I am because I got my finger on the pulse. You don't. And you can, I wouldn't recommend doing that last part, but you can make people feel bad that you know things and they don't. Or you can just tell them, your choice. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. You figure out what's best and we go from there. Cool. So that's the feature. Super excited to announce that. If you have any questions about that feature, feel free to ask. I'm happy to talk about that and talk about the rollout and how we're doing it. If you also have questions about anything else in general, you can raise your hand. So what you want to do is for the reaction, there's a reaction function here and it says raise hand. When you see raise hand, it'll do that guy right there, and then it'll create the queue, and we will jump down that queue right now. So with that said, let's jump to Eric.
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon. Eric Rodriguez. This is a really cool feature. The question I had about the feature real quick is when are the emails sent out? And I know there's probably some best practices on, hey, is it immediate? Is it several hours afterwards, since it's an automated system? Do we have an ability to control that?
It's a great question. It's a great question. We went back and forth over this a lot on our side, right? So it's a very, very, very good question. So right now, the way our system works is that we're going to be batch sending the emails a couple of hours after the event because we wanted people time to get back to whatever they might be doing. So they're not going to get it immediately. Like I put it in and I get that immediately. So if you wanted to mention that, like, hey, in a few hours you're going to get all of this emailed to you as well, you can
Perfect.
say that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thanks for being here, brother. Michael Pope Jr.
All right. Hey, loving the new changes. So quick question. I was going to ask about the timing as well, but thank you for Eric covered that. As far as the reply email, so if we change our email address, that same email is what we use to log into the system, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So if you use do you use Google or LinkedIn
I
or
use
an
Google,
email?
so that's why I was concerned about changing it.
No, you can change your email and still use Google to log in. You should have no problem.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're doing the sign in with Google, you click on that, you'll still be able to sign in that way, and that email won't affect it in any way.
Okay, good. And then my last question is, any thoughts on making it where we can resend the emails? Like if we want to send something immediate or for a previous event, if I want to send the bonus to everyone easily, any thoughts on doing that?
Yeah, so I think that solution will probably be solved through the Zapier integration.
Okay.
So our goal right now is to have this feature and then the ability for you to customize the email.
Okay.
In the future, it might, because basically the way for it to work on the back end, which is not necessarily of interest to any of you, we've got to fire the emails. So we're trying to figure out the best cadence and the best way to do that. So at some point we might have the ability for you to say like, I want it immediate, I want it 2 days later, I want it 1 day later. So that might be possible, but we just have to make sure we can actually do that successfully.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say 100% that's going to happen on the next iteration of it, because there's some just logistics of when we have so many things firing, can we make sure that it doesn't break? And that's the most important. We want it to work and function. So it's a tentative yes, but I would build it out more as customization of it. It will send, and then if all of that goes with no hitches, we'll try to iterate on that as well.
Super. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Diane.
Hey there.
Hey.
What email does that come from? Does it come from a Talkadot or does it come from our domain?
So it comes from a Talkadot email, but the reply to is your email address. So if someone replies, you'll get it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure I know the answer to this, but just to double check, Talkadot does not farm these emails, correct?
No, we're not going to sell your content. We're not going to do anything with it. We're not going to. So yeah, this is a great question. Thank you for asking it.
I just assumed so. I just wanted it for clarity.
I will go on record. I will sign anything. We have it in our terms and policy. Your emails and it's 100% safe. It will not go anywhere it's not supposed to go.
I've got a client who's starting to use Talkadot. She's good at the moment, going to use it for a free one. We're not sure about that. I'm trying to convince her otherwise. She's looking to have qualifying questions. She's been asked to do a speech. She's a pretty in-demand person, and she doesn't want to offer a call me for a 15-minute or she'll be on the phone for 3 days. Is there a way in the questions, this is not a question about what you just announced, but it's just in general, that that people can go through a qualifying thing to actually get some better understanding of whether or not they're really qualified for her? Have you been in business 3 years? Do you sell a product over 10,000? That kind of a thing.
Yeah, so what I would recommend doing is, so when someone identifies themselves as a booking lead in our tool, what I would recommend doing is sending them to a booking link that has those questions on it.
Okay.
We're not going to, I would do that post. I wouldn't do that during, because it'll be too long.
No. Yeah.
In the survey itself.
Yeah. No, this would be a post thing. Absolutely. She just didn't know. She didn't know if Talkadot could do anything with it, or do we need to use a different link? I thought we needed a different link.
Yeah, that would be outside of Talkadot, like our use case.
Okay.
If you have like, you can book me schedule once or any of those calendars, you can add qualifying questions before someone can, and I would do it there. Yeah. It'd be more appropriate than through the Talkadot system.
Okay. Are you going to be having a webhook or just Zapier?
So we have. Are you talking about for Zoho specifically or in general?
Well, for me, it would be for Zoho.
So we have a webhook with Zoho. So we have, do you use Speakerflow or something else?
Speakerflow stole Zoho from me.
I'm not going to go into that. That sounds personal. I'm not going to touch
No,
it.
no,
I'm
it's
not gonna
okay.
touch
It's
it.
okay. It's just too funny. They were harping all about HubSpot. I'm like, you should try Zoho. Why would we do that? I'm like, then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, we're Zoho. I'm like, fine. But
Yeah. So we do have, so I'll show you this. And this is
because
where
Zoho has its own Zapier tool called Zoho Flow.
So right here, we have a direct integration with Speakerflow, but since Speakerflow uses Zoho, if you have your webhook, you can just paste it here. Again, the specificity, and this is where like I'm not so knowledgeable about Zoho because Speakerflow is built on top of Zoho. My assumption is that the webhook should work just fine because it's Zoho. But we have the direct integration with there. So all you'd have to do is create your webhook and paste it into here and then turn it on like that. And you should be able to do what you need to do with Zoho.
Dandy.
Yeah.
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Diane. Thanks for being with us. Tell your person to have a good time and use Pro.
Yeah, she's speaking to NASDAQ.
Oh, this is great. That's wonderful. That's a big deal. That's amazing.
Yeah, she's really excited and but she's a very nervous speaker. She's a new speaker, and this thing kind of came out. And she's not a speaker for a living, so you know she's really not interested in getting more speaking gigs. She's looking to close one person for a consulting gig. So it's a very different use case.
I would, is she on the? Hold on, I'm gonna bring you back, Adam. Give me 1 second here. Is she on a pro trial right now?
I think we just signed her up last week.
Yeah, if you signed her up last week, she should still be on a pro trial, so she'll have this. So what I would recommend doing for you, let me just share this with you real quick. For her is when she creates her slide here, I'll just go here. You have the ability to throw in a customized question on step 5 when she creates it. I would recommend her creating a question that might be around are you interested in consulting service or or would you be interested in working more closely with me? Like I would put in some type of coaching consulting lead generative question in step 5. And then when she gets the answers for those, all she's going to want to do is go over to her speaking report, which is right here. And where it says actions, you just want to click on these 3 dots and put download testimonials here. And that's going to download a CSV file where let me just pull it up so you can see it. The customized question, which is like whatever she puts here, what the answer was and who said it will be right here on this download of this spreadsheet. So that's going to be how she accesses it. So I think that would be a great use for her, especially with the NASDAQ people.
All right. And nothing personal. I'm gonna have to leave in 10 minutes, so nothing personal.
I'm taking it fully personally. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to drink some whiskey. I'm going to do a lot to deal with that.
I'm courageous being one of the few girls here. So, hey.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you being here. I will not take it personally, but thank you so much for joining us, Diane. Adam, what's going on, brother?
Rel, how are you? Got a bunch of rapid fires for you. Just on the, I don't know if you mentioned this, but is there an email sequence? So first email gets sent. Are there follow-ups that automatically get sent, or is that on us?
Great question. Yeah. So our system is just doing the initial email right now. The follow-up emails are probably going to be something best handled when we create the Zapier, and then you can do as many of the follow-up sequences as you want.
Got it. Okay. But basically, first email goes out, and then if we don't hear back, your recommendation is just that we then kind of go through our usual flow.
That's 100% right. What we're basically doing is making sure that at least the first email touch goes out, and then anything that you want to do in terms of your generic follow-up sequence or whatever you're following up, we would still recommend doing it. It's just like this guarantees it gets done versus a lot of times we're hearing from speakers, oh, I didn't do it yet, or I've been busy, or maybe I got 300 leads. That's not a real number, but like, I got like 60 leads and I haven't been able to reach out to everyone. This guarantees systematically, at least everyone gets that initial touch point.
And I'm assuming that these emails are going to be in our outbox. It'll be in our sent folder.
No, so the email will send as what's called the system generated email from Talkadot. So it's going to come, it's going to be sent from like a no reply at talkadot.com kind of email address.
Got it.
Well, not no reply, because if they reply, I have to double check which email we're using. But basically, it's like if you ever got a contract from like DocuSign, and then you get an email from DocuSign saying, yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. So if we want to then run them through a sequence, if they haven't responded and we want to run them through a sequence, we're essentially starting from scratch.
Yes, exactly. So your first email, if you want to put them through any type of follow-up sequence, they're going to get our system generated email. And then anything you do from there is like, assume that's email number one.
Got it. Okay. That's a good clarification. Okay.
Yeah, great question.
So I had a bunch of questions. I'll kind of rapid fire them to you out of respect for everyone's time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done credit card processing before for speaking. Do you have a best practice or a vendor that you?
We use Stripe.
Stripe.
We use Stripe. Yeah. So Stripe is the easiest way to set up. This is totally a personal philosophy. I'll tell you what mine is, but it doesn't mean you have to do it. Some people will say credit card processing fee incurs a 3% surcharge. So if I were to charge you $10,000, I'd charge you $10,300 if you want to do credit card. Other people, they don't change the price at all, and they just do it as, hey, I'll absorb the credit card processing fee. I personally don't do the 3% surcharge. And I don't, because I don't like when people surcharge me. So I don't like to do things to people that I don't like when they do to me. So I just absorb it. But we encourage check and ACH. We don't even mention credit card unless the client says, like, we just had a client pay with credit card and they said, we prefer to pay with credit card. We go, no problem. We call them up. They give us the number. We type it into Stripe and process it. C'est la vie.
I've had
Ariel, just quickly, you can discount for cash. You cannot surcharge for credit card. Depending on what state you're in, you need to be really careful with that.
Ooh, there's lots of people breaking the law right now, Diane.
It's true. But that's why gas stations always have discount for cash.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that. Because I've seen so many surcharges for credit cards.
Just why bother to go there?
I'm assuming Stripe you can set up, like, if I have a situation where it's where they basically want to pay through credit card and want to do it today. I'm assuming I can get it done today.
Easy peasy. Yeah, you could go into Stripe and literally it'll be a really quick tutorial. You just register for the account. It doesn't cost anything to register. And then they'll show you how to do it. And they have a way to do a test. So you can like turn on test mode and then just make sure you're doing it correctly. Like any software, it's easy peasy, but it's also like a slight little tiny learning curve, right? So they have pretty good customer support, but Stripe is the easiest way. If Stripe is not, if it feels too out of bounds or feels too nerve-wracking, you can also do PayPal. Sometimes people who do credit card will also do PayPal. But I think Stripe it'd be easy enough to set up for you. Is
there a reason why you did Stripe as opposed to Square?
Everyone just said to use Stripe, so
got it.
Stripe. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a Square, not that I've used it like in years, but I used to have the Square reader for my phone. If I was at an event, I would use Square because they have the reader and not Stripe. But if I'm doing like an online payment or like an over the phone payment, I would do Stripe. You could do Square too. Like Square's totally fine. There's no issue with Square. It's just kind of like when everyone starts saying that's the one I use, I just use that one.
And I already have a PayPal set up, like just because I'm on PayPal. Is there a reason why not to do PayPal or?
No, I think it's pretty easy to just send them a PayPal link that says pay via PayPal or credit card, and then they would just choose credit card and then type it in a credit card, and then you could be easily just done like that.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Couple other questions. I have a talk coming up where basically I have 30 minutes to do the keynote. I've never had that condensed in a period. and I'm trying to figure out basically what to cut. Do you have any thoughts as to, without kind of getting into the granularity of my specific talk, how to try to figure out what to cut? And then specifically, like in a 30-minute talk, do you basically just junk the pair and share because the mindset is that 30 minutes, you don't really need a pair and share?
That's 100% right. So basically, I would cut down tremendously on, so I would do your opening the way you would normally do your opening. I would do your closing the way you normally do your closing, but you really have enough time for a condensed version of a singular idea, right? So you might want to take out, depending upon where you're going with it, you might want to take out most of your interactions because those might take, time. Or you might say, hey, I want you to think about a mentor who you love and care about, but not actually have them write it down. So you could just like throw it out as an exercise of thought. But basically you've got to trim all the fat that normally would be in an hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours, and just go to the idea. I would still do Talkadot. What I typically do if I have 30 minutes is I would do it at, again, it's really a preference of choice, but I would do it at the very, very end if I had 30 minutes. Because I have such a short window of time to get all of my content in. Like when I have an hour, it's so much easier. When I have 45 minutes, it's so much easier. But 30 minutes and lower, I typically will put it up at the end and say, like, as I'm leaving, if you'd like access to my thing, give me your feedback. You will get a lower response rate, but it's still better to do it than to not do it. And the only caveat I would have to this is if I am purposely speaking at this event, primarily for business leads, then I would incorporate Talkadot into then I would do basically a 20-25 minute keynote and still incorporate. If it was like, I don't know, I could get leads, I couldn't get leads, but I only have 30 minutes, then it's going at the very, very end. And that's like my personal preference, but other people might do things differently.
So kind of the situation is basically, I'm doing a 30-minute keynote, and then immediately after the 30-minute keynote, so there are two speakers. I'm like the number two speaker. The number one speaker is an NFL Hall of Famer who I'm then interviewing. So basically, I'm doing the 30-minute keynote. They're then gonna, as soon as I'm done, they're then gonna play a sizzle reel introducing the NFL Hall of Famer. And then I'm gonna be doing a one-on-one. That was one of the reasons why they hired me, was because they wanted me to do the interview.
Because your podcast, yeah.
So,
that makes a lot of sense.
I'm trying to figure out, with that in mind.
So you're going directly from your talk, no transition into the interview?
The transition is going to be this. There's going to be this 30-second
sizzle video.
I don't know, 30-second. There's going to be like a sizzle. There might be someone from the organization who goes and then introduces this Hall of Famer. But essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to give my talk. My talk's going to end. I'm going to go from standing up and speaking to going up to another portion of the stage where I'm going to be sitting down and conducting the one-on-one. So I'm trying to figure out like how that's a little work in Talkadot.
Yeah, I could see it in my head. It's a little unique. Here's what I would recommend doing. I would recommend basically saying, hey, I've got this cool framework that shows you how to find your superpower. Scan it, give me your thoughts on this feedback if you'd like to get access to it. I would just pull it up, and then I wouldn't create the time and space, because the way you just set it up for me, you don't really have the time and space for people to do that. And if you do the Talkadot after the interview, people might give you responses about the interview itself and not about your keynote. So I would, in this particular use case, if I were in your shoes, I would just have it as a slide that says, hey, if you'd like to stay in touch with me, get access to this, scan this QR code and let me know your thoughts. But what we're going to do right now is transition over to the person. And then as people are filling it out, the thing will play, but I wouldn't create the time and space that I normally would in this particular use case. I would just pull it up, know I'm going to get lower response rates, but be okay with it.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So basically, do my 30 minutes, close how I would normally close. Then after I close, put up the Talkadot slide and say, have like a one sentence line about how
I think I would make it more about the thing you're going to give them versus the survey itself. Yeah.
Yeah, because what I give them is my best tips on the topic of mentorship.
Right.
So what I would say is something to the effect of, I'll come up with a way to do it, but essentially, if you want my best tips on the topic of mentorship, here they are, scan the code, fill it out,
And you'll get access to it.
and here's, now watch this video, whatever.
That's right. That's what I would do in that case. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Any other thoughts just around on this topic around cutting, trimming, staying within 30 minutes, or that's pretty much your best advice?
Typically, it's always just pare down, simplify, simplify, simplify. So if I'm going to talk about, superpower, mentorship, maybe I just talk about superpower. Maybe I don't talk like literally you have a singular idea, and then maybe the ability to give the singular idea with like less of the idea, and then maybe one reaffirming story. But it's basically just, if you look at any presentation, there's multiple ideas that might reinforce one central idea, and your job is to just prune the and just go like, I'm just talking about my superpower and how I found it, or I'm just talking about mentorship and that's it. And it's always less is more, less is more, less is more.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, 30 goes quick.
yeah, no, that's helpful. My last question is, have you looked in the past at all around licensing commercial music for use in presentations, and if so, any thoughts about the best way to do that?
I've only gone with music that I can either get the rights to or has no rights whatsoever. Like, I personally have never been like, oh, let me figure out how to get Justin Timberlake's music and get the legality of it. If there's like a very, very specific song you want, I would have no background or knowledge on how to get a specific song. I typically look for royalty-free music, or if you get like a BMG access to their catalog for single use, it might be like $100 or something like that. It's pretty affordable, but I don't know how to get like the permission to reuse one song over and over and over. I've never done that.
What do you mean by BMG catalog you mean to use for like one event?
Yeah, you can, and I'm not the expert in this, but I'm
Yeah.
aware that you can go to like, like Universal has like, I want to use Universal's catalog for one event, and you'd pay a fee, and then you can use their catalog for one, but you can't use it over and over and you have like the license for one, and it's not like you have the license for recorded content that's like going to be played in perpetuity. It would be like if I was doing a summit and I wanted to have like, don't stop believe it. I wanted to play that as I walked out, and I wanted to do it legally. I would have to, do that. And if you go to like licensing Universal Music or licensing BMG, or those are like the big conglomerates with the music. But I typically just go to royalty-free music and just get something that sounds good enough and stay there.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, does anyone on the call have any expertise or experience on this topic or not?
I don't have anyone. I would just.
I was just asking. I was asking the group. I don't know.
Oh, if anyone in the group knows more about this, please, 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 reach out to Adam. But yeah, that what I just shared is the extent of my knowledge.
Understood. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the help.
You're welcome. Happy to help. Always, Adam. All right, Bruce, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? So I used the Talkadot for the first time Saturday. It's awesome. However,
Okay.
I didn't get any surveys because when I put it up in my PowerPoint, everybody who took a picture got a message that said, oops, or something like that, a little red error message. And I said, yeah, thanks, don't worry about it. Can I just shoot them the same email code that's on that slide and have them, thanks, if you don't mind, give me 2 minutes?
Well, one, let's actually, did you troubleshoot what you shouldn't have gotten that oops message? That shouldn't have happened. Do you know why that happened? Or do you want to troubleshoot?
I do not
that
know. Can I share my screen and show you
Yeah,
what I did in my
100%.
dashboard? Okay, because
If you
I
could
think
share
what I did is just,
hold
I
on,
don't
let
know.
me give you permission. 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, you got permission to share.
Okay, you should see my welcome Bruce Talkadot dashboard, correct?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so I was
Which
using
slide
this
did you
one, the
use?
New York 2024.
Okay, so let me click on the 3 dots next to it and then put download slide. Hold that open. Let me just take a look.
Now
So it worked just now when I scanned it for me.
Yeah, it's worked for me too, because I've, naturally I went right out to the car and hit it.
Do you have your presentation deck? Could you pull up your presentation
I
deck?
don't have it on this computer.
On that computer?
Yeah.
Do me a favor. And again, I'm just trying to troubleshoot it. I'm not sure what the right solution here is.
Right.
If you can just re-download this slide and remove whatever you put in previously, because I just scanned this one and it worked fine. So I'm not sure if some weird thing happened with the
Well, I
slide
didn't know if
you
it was a
inserted.
projector problem. Like, does it look different in a projector, the QR code?
No, it should work 100% fine in all projectors, all LCD, all virtual. There should be no issue whatsoever. So if you had an oops code, without me seeing the actual presentation itself,
Gotcha.
this slide does work. So I would just re-download it, reinsert it, and that probably should solve any problem you might have.
Okay. Okay, that's the key to it. So I'll just re-download that slide.
I would. And then do you see that the three dots right there? If you click on those three dots.
These?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you see where it says copy code link?
Yep.
You could email that link to people and then they can give you feedback through that link and it'll go for that NY 2024 thing.
Okay, and I'll just tell them to use the same code, New York 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So if you open up a new window.
Okay. Oops. Copy it in.
And then yeah, plug that in there.
Bingo.
So yeah, so when you use that link, just so you're aware, in case everyone's aware, do you see in the URL how it says $code equals New York 2024?
Very good.
The URL. So what that tells our system is this is the code for this survey. So they don't have to manually enter in the code. But watch this. Do you see where it says $code? If you just delete everything after the question mark. So don't delete the whole thing, just from the question mark code. Yeah, just backspace that, and then backspace the question mark.
Take that out too?
Yeah, take the question mark out and then hit enter. They just have to manually type in New York 2024. So you can give them your generic code, type in New York 2024, and then hit let's go. And it'll take them to the exact same place that you just were a moment ago. It just saves them one step when you use that.
That's great. So
yeah,
if I copy this code link right down here, is that the same code as up here?
No, so it's pretty much the same. Basically, when you copy the code link from those three dots, it gives you the code embedded into your survey. If you copy that generic one, they just have to manually type in the code like I showed you, like when you deleted the question mark code. So either one of those works. So you can say copy this code and put in a code New York 2024, or you can just say click on this link and give me your feedback. I think it's a little easier user-wise if you give them the code from the three dots.
Very good. That's it for today. Now I got work to do. Thanks.
Okay, cool. And please, if you could send me either a screenshot of your presentation when you have it, I'd love to troubleshoot it because you should never have an oops message with our tool.
Okie doke. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks so much.
Good week, everyone.
All right, you too. You can stop sharing your screen.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, great. And let's go to Dan.
Hey, everybody. Just three quick questions. One is, again, going back to the leads and the automated email that might go out to it now based on the new beta. How long, since I have a couple of people I just noticed on as I looked at it, that are leads that might have been leads 2 months ago. Does that go back that far, or is there some way to automate that?
When you say, ask that question again, I want to make sure I fully grasp it.
Okay,
well, one more time.
Yeah, I'm looking at some presentation I did. I got several leads, which I didn't follow up on.
Yes.
And now if I change the profile to accept the new beta system, people 2 months ago, would they get something from me?
No, great question. So when you turn that on, that'll only send the email to new people that come in. Gotcha. It's not going to send it to anyone in the past. So anyone in the past, you can do a manual follow-up with, but any new people who come in, they'll get the email automatically.
Gotcha. Okay, cool beats. The other thing is, again, in my profile, just curious about the personal profile where there's something like, for example, my bio in there, which I still got to put in there. What do people see on that in terms of the personal profile? Do they see any of that stuff, or?
Yeah, let me show you what it looks like. Let me log into my account here. So the public profile over time is going to become one of those things that becomes more and more valuable over time. So when you click on your face here and then go to oh, I've got a I've got a different account than y'all, so let me just type it in here.
You got all the extra stuff over there.
Yeah, I got other stuff. So I got the admin account. So when you click on your settings here, you'll see something that says your public profile. When you click on your public profile, what it's going to do is take all of your data and aggregate it into one report. So for example, this is 4,000 pieces of feedback, and this is my total feedback that I've gotten since I've started using Talkadot. These are my top attributes. And then when you scroll down here, these are all of the past speaking engagements that I've given. And then someone can click on it and see what people are saying about me on any individual one. So your public profile is more of a, hey, I want to shoot out to a client, like, look, I have consistently done a really, really good job, and this is the data to show it, versus sending out one report, which just gives you a snapshot of like just how you did on one event. Your public profile is kind of like your P&L for the year. It's like, here's how I've done for the whole entirety of it versus just a snapshot of one presentation I've done.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So typically the way I recommend using the public profile link is you can put this in your email, in your signature, as an example, like hear what people are saying about Dan, and it's just ever present. So if someone wants to click on your signature and check you out, if you're doing an outbound email campaign and you want people to check out how effective you've been, you could either hand select individual reports you want people to see, or you can just use this report and tell people, like, check me out, like I'm consistently good. Again, when you've given one or two presentations, the public profile isn't as beneficial, but once you start giving like 5+, instead of having to send out multiple links, you can just send out one.
Okay. I see now with recent, it only listed 3 of my recent ones. Is that a reason for just 3 of them, or?
Yeah, if it's not showing up in our public profile, that means you probably didn't add a name to it on your admin panel. Do you so either A, if it has less than, I think, oh, I should know this number off the top of my head. If you have less than 5 responses, we don't show it up on your public profile, or 3. I can't remember if it's less than 3. I got to double check with my dev team. But if it's less than 3 or 5, then we don't put it on your public profile. And if you haven't added a name for it, we don't put it on your public profile.
Okay, and the name would be somewhere in the settings for that then.
I got you right here. So when you go right here, when I say name for it, so this section that says your speaking engagements, if you have data that comes in, like you see this one right here, it says add details. Because I haven't added details, this isn't going to show up in my public profile.
Gotcha.
But if I go click add details and then I put in the name of my talk here and the organization of my talk here, and it had, like in this particular case, it's got only 1 response. So it wouldn't show up in my public profile, because I think under 3, we don't put in your public profile under 5. So if it meets the specification that it has more than 5 responses and you added the organization name and talk title, then it will show up on your public profile.
Gotcha. Okay. One other question I just wanted to know in the account settings.
Yeah.
Where it talks about and again, my profile visibility. It asks for password protection, a new password.
Yeah. Let me break this down. I'll break this all down. So if you want to see your public profile, you want to click on your face and then go to your account settings.
Right.
And then in your account settings, you want to just scroll down pass our new email campaign into what's called your profile visibility. Now, by default, this is turned off for everyone. We want you to have the option to turn this on or off. Now, is your profile searchable on Talkadot? So eventually, this isn't like a feature right now that we have, but eventually we want people to be able to discover you. So if you want to have discoverability, meaning that you can be discovered on our tool, you'd want to keep that to yes. If you want your public profile to be SEO indexed so that if someone's searching your name, they can find it on Google. The same way, like if I type in your name, I can find your LinkedIn URL. If I want people to find my profile on Google, I want to keep this link to yes. If I don't want them to find it on Google, I'm going to keep it, to private, and then people can only get it if I give it to them. If I want to have the password protection here, password protection means you can get my public profile if I give you a password. So like if you ever go to a password protected site, because there are some speakers who are like, I don't want anybody to know who I speak to. I don't want anyone to know except clients. So if you're like, let's say, for example, I speak to pharmaceutical companies, right? And they're like high on privacy. And I'm like, hey, I don't want just everyone in the public to know which pharmaceutical companies I work with, but I'm about to speak to Flonase and they want to go, well, I want to see how you did with other pharmaceutical companies. I can say, here's a link and here's a password, put in that password, and then you'll be able to see how I've done with all my other pharmaceutical company presentations. So it's just different levels of privacy. I personally like to make myself as easily discoverable as possible, but we found other speakers have different desires. So that's why we created the different public privacy options. I can't think of a good word, like levels of privacy. Yeah, that's it.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So again, you can just click on your settings. If you have no issue with people finding you and discovering you, I would just toggle all these to yes and don't leave it password protected. If you don't want people to see it for any reason, then obviously toggle it to whatever makes you feel most comfortable from a privacy perspective.
Cool beans. Got it. Thanks.
You got it. Thanks for being with us, Dan.
Uh-huh.
Is that a actual umbrella or a lighting umbrella behind you?
Oh, that's a lighting umbrella. Yeah.
That's an elaborate. Okay. I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was raining and I was like, all right.
Inside,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Marley, what's going on?
Hey, I was trying to get the unmute button.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I did my follow-up, used the templates,
Mm-hmm.
and I sent it to like 60 people, and I did send it like individually.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard back from one. And I know that there's like the other follow-up ones. I wrote a different follow-up just to see if I could get a response. And I haven't heard anything. And so I don't know. It's just a question about the following up and getting potential, obviously, like leads.
Yeah. So I'm a big advocate. So I don't have an emotional response to anything until the 5th email. My initial email, I expect to get no responses, few responses. Like it's a very normal thing. And the reason why is because when I go to an event and when I'm done with the event, I'm coming back to all of the to-dos. Like when someone typically goes to an event, they're leaving their work and then they're coming back to their work. So when they come back to their work, all of that is urgent, and talking to me, unless it's urgent, is important, but not urgent. Right. So my job is to stay consistent in following up because I'm trying to slot into their to-do list, right? So some people will get the email and they go, which we've all done, oh my gosh, I got to reach out to Marley. But you're like, crap, I've got like 75 things like taking my attention and it's freaking me out. I got to do it. So that's why I recommend like the sequence, because you're trying to capture timing and no one knows timing. No one knows, like, because the other person, like, for example, and this is the other thing, some people who are booking leads are genuine booking leads, just not right now. Right. I saw you speak and I want to book you, but like literally there's nothing I can book you for right now. But I would like you to stay in touch with me. So that's, you always kind of want to parse out, are they a booking lead for now, or are they a booking lead for later? So you can also have your system. So I send anyone who express interest, I'm sending 5 emails before I have any type of like, hey, what happened? I expect the first email to not necessarily land, but for the super hot people, they will respond to it. What that indicates to me is that they're just not like, oh my gosh, I have an event in 4 weeks and we don't have a speaker yet. I need to get on the phone. They're like, oh, I might have an event in 6 months. And that's important to me, but not urgent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because I was curious about like the subject lines. I used the like A, B, or C time sensitive one. Mm-hmm. And then I just did my own literally, and I just called it like JPAR keynote follow-up, or like thank you, or something like that. Just to be like, just to play with it. But I don't know.
And a lot of it is testing. A lot of it is too, like, we've given you a generic one, but like, there's always new ways to make an email subject. Now, what I would recommend, do you use anything like Yesware or MailTrack to see what your open rates are?
I do on Kajabi. Like this one, because I just wanted to get it done, I just sent it through Gmail because I was just like, I just got ConvertKit and I was messing around in there, and then I got overwhelmed. So just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. So not that you need to, not that you need this as a tool. This is just a recommendation. I use it, again, just because I use it doesn't mean anyone should. MailTrack is an overlay that you can put onto Gmail. And then when you send an email to someone, they get it as a Gmail, like a regular email, but you can see if they opened it or if they read it. So it's like, it's a little ninja. Okay. It's a little secret ninja-y. So
MailTrack, I'll check that out.
MailTrack, yeah. So that's the one I use. There's lots of different versions of it, and there's free versions of the tool, paid versions of the tool. But it's a great way to first sense like, well, maybe the email is not working. Maybe the email subject from my group, like maybe like the one that they have is not working, so I need a different one. Mm-hmm. But if you have a sense of what your open rates are, what your click rates are, you can then kind of optimize a little bit. And then obviously if you send it through ConvertKit or MailChimp or whatever, that's pre-built into the system. Or you just thug it out and just send them and just wait for responses and see what happens there.
Got it. Cool. I was just curious, like working on the follow-up game.
Take zero of it personally, and just continue to follow up. And then again, I don't have any kind of response emotionally until the 5th one. I expect people to be slow in response because of just the nature of life. Because I know that when I leave and I come back, I'm trying to get caught up. So I can't take on new projects. I've got to take on the stuff that filled the void while I was gone.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you, Marley. Mr. Benny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Marley, if you're still listening, just quickly, MailTrack actually just recently changed their name to MailSuite. Oh. So just in case when you Google and if you see MailSuite, just to not get confused, because I know there's a lot of other softwares out there. And I absolutely second what Earl
said. They did change their name. That's right.
Yeah. So, and I actually used that because of Earl recommendation. You also could run campaigns off of that as well, and it all comes through your regular Gmail. You could send multiple emails and it's delivered individually, so you don't have to worry about, you could just put in like a Google Doc and you just send everything out, a Google Sheet, and you send everything out. It's going to go individually, so it's a pretty cool tool. So, Mr. Moody, got a question for you, and it kind of builds on Dan's initial question regarding all leads, right? I have to admit, I haven't been as consistent as following up on my leads within Talkadot. So I have a bunch of leads in there from past presentations. Now, my question is, do you have any suggestion of the best practices on how to re-engage those, and like how far should you go? Because I feel like if like a presentation said from a year ago or so, and I haven't really talked to you, it's kind of like weird to say, hey, remember the last presentation, because like a long time has elapsed. So Just
I would
curious if you
recommend,
had any
yeah,
thoughts.
in terms of like timing, like if it's like a month, it's not so bad. I would just be like,
Right.
hey, remember me? And I'd put a picture of my face and maybe a picture of me at the venue so people can go like, yeah, I remember Fred. How could I forget him? If it's been like longer than that, I would start with just giving them value. Like they've given you permission to reach out to them. So I
Right.
would start with like, here's a cool thing, or here's like a cool idea. Like I would literally just give them value with no ask. Or if you do want to do an ask, it's in the PS. Like PS, if you found this interesting and you were planning an event, reach out to me about speaking. I'd love to talk to you. So I would just spend time just what's called warming up your list, which is give them value, give them value, give them value, jab, 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 jab. And then like after 5 or 6 jabs, you throw the right hook. Or again, like I said, like I personally always have some type of call to action in my PS or at the bottom of an email, because I never know, it's all timing. I never know when someone's actually interested in booking. So the primary reason I'm reaching out is value. And then the secondary reason, which is very minimal, is the call to action. And if you do that, like it's just at that point, it's just a send something out once a week, once a month. And people will convert. It like will always happen. And you'll have people who say things like, I've been hearing about you for 2 years. I've been reading your emails and I decided to reach out today. Like that's just a very normal thing that will happen.
No,
So
that's
I
good.
would go there.
Yeah, thank you for that. Just that, because you're not asking them anything, you're actually serving, you're giving. And
That's right.
so it doesn't make that relationship kind of weird. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Fred. All right. And we're going to go Samantha, and I got to go super quick. Can we do it in a minute?
I can try.
Let's
try.
go.
Let's see. So a couple, I'll just email you with the other questions if I have. That public profile, I looked at it and I get it. I changed the setting. Where does, I don't quite understand, where does that show up? Like,
So you would have to do something with the link. So you get a public profile link, right? So when you click on, let me go back to my public profile here and show it.
Because I clicked it, the profile visibility.
So once you make it public, it'll start getting what's called indexed into Google. So once you make it public, this will get indexed and it'll start showing up in Google searches, like not like instantly right away, but it will over time. And then this URL right here, you can then physically do something with that. You can manually email it to people. You can add it to your Gmail signature. Like, so for example,
right, but because I know you only have a minute, I don't quite see. Can I screen share and show you where I am? Okay,
please.
Because I know you have to go quick. I don't quite get. I changed it. Where's the link?
You know what? Hold on. Let me take a screenshot of this. Hold on. This is actually helpful for me to see. I got to send this to my team. So you see how you've got that link at the top, but it's got like Samantha Irwin and then a bunch of gobbledygook afterwards.
Yeah.
If you actually just delete from the question mark after the N in your name and delete that, and then hit enter.
Okay.
That link is your link. The fact that there's gobbledygook on it is confusing, and I need to find out why that's happening. So I'm going to send that to my dev team right away.
Okay.
But yes, that is your link. So that URL right there, and then you can copy that and share that anywhere.
And put it in my signature or whatever. Okay, that's good. I know I have other questions, but you have to go. Thanks for spending time with us.
You're VIP. You get whatever you want. Okay, so you send me an email.
Wow, you heard him. Okay, I would like you to send me some dark chocolate, please, from Joe Coco, and then a week.
Easy. I don't know Joe Coco, but I got dark chocolate.
Perfect. Wait.
All right, thank y'all for being here. If you like your friends, tell them about Talkadot. Turn on the email thing, start using it, and if you're light, upgrade to Pro, baby. It's way better on the Pro side. All right, I'll see y'all later.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.